All right, call to order. Then could we have a roll call, please?
Yeah. Mr. Hendon?
Here.
Miss Allen?
Here.
Miss Redden?
Here.
Miss Clemens?
Here.
Mrs. Lamacchia?
Here.
Miss Conan?
Here. All right, first item on the agenda is public comment. Is anyone here that would like to make public comment? Okay. Next item on the agenda, we have the Eva Jane Romaine Coombe Director's Report. Paula?
Thank you. I'm going to start my report with highlights of 2019, which was a very busy year, and start by noting that our ongoing excellence was again highlighted by our achievement of attaining another 5-star rating in the Library Journal Index for a 7th year in a row. Yes, that's excellent. So you'll note in my report that this is a rating based on our per capita circulation, program attendance, internet use, and for libraries with budgets similar to ours, only 2 other libraries in the country have 7 consecutive 5-star ratings. There are friends up in Cuyahoga County and Cleveland, and on the other coast, Seattle Public Library. So that's an impressive group to be associated with. As a reminder, we have also in 2019, we were named by the Public Library Service Statistical Report as the 3rd busiest library in the U.S. And we did win our Innovation Award honorable mention from the Urban Library Council as a recognition for our strong emphasis on staff communication.
Susan, how many libraries are there in the United States? Do you know that number?
There are over 17,000 public libraries in the United States.
17,000.
More than there are Starbucks and McDonald's.
Wow.
Thank you. There are in Ohio 251 alone. So, okay. Do you need any other weird statistical facts? Beth and I can surely provide.
Alice, I'll take libraries for 100.
Great question. Throughout 2019, of course, we worked with our friends from Group 4 Architecture who are in our audience today, and other local experts, Champlin Architecture, Design Impact, Brown Engineering, to assess our current building and gather info for our facilities master plan. That plan is a roadmap for our facility development improvements over the next 10 years. It will serve to ensure that we expend our tax-supported resources and funding effectively and strategically. As you know, we prioritize those 6 planning principles that were approved by the board: maximize access, transparency, customer focus, operational sustainability, industry-leading excellence, diversity, and inclusion. Throughout the process, we held more than 90 meetings, focus groups, and connected with more than 3,000 people, all from across our community, as we work to complete the FMP. We engaged an enthusiastic and diverse community advisory council to help in our planning, and of course, we included all of our staff via a staff advisory team. Our efforts to improve our facilities didn't stop in 2019, and we worked diligently on that FMP. We opened our new state-of-the-art distribution center in the West End that improves our ability to transport materials and serve our customers, and also provides our staff with a modern, ergonomically friendly, effective workplace. In both Price Hill and Walnut Hills, we have active projects in progress for renovating and expanding both of those more than 100-year-old Carnegie Library buildings, and we do expect to break ground in Price Hill this March and anticipate beginning our work in Walnut Hills in the fall. Thanks to the foundational work we have completed as part of the FMP and identifying priority projects and locations with immediate opportunities, we will likely be in a position to promptly begin some additional design projects and maintenance work in several communities this year in 2020. Assessing and addressing our technology needs and opportunities are also a major focus, and certainly were during 2019. We evaluated a new comprehensive online tool to enhance our customers' experience across our catalog and website, something that our customers identified as an area of improvement during our community engagement sessions, especially in that West Planning Zone where our concentration of libraries is a little bit lower than everywhere else in the city and county. An assessment team from a variety of levels of our staff recommended that we implement Biblio Commons, and we will be doing that in mid-2020 of this year. Then we have a little bit of just a recap of our success in serving our young users. Through our summer adventure program, we saw a 7% increase in 2018. We also continue to partnerships to provide snack and food over the summer, serving 18,000 summer meals in June and July, which is an 8% increase over 2018. Our brain camps were popular as always, and those really were changed a little bit this year. As noted, they provided opportunities to engage with STEM activities in a drop-in format rather than pre-registration. Our foundation and development work continue to provide support for our programs and services, with the Library Foundation endowment growing to $7,717,045. Donations and grants received by the foundation in 2019 reaching $754,993, which is great. Last year was a big transition year for our library. Several new senior leaders on our team, many of whom are around the table today. Brett Bonfield is our Chief Operating Officer. Beth Yoke is our Chief Strategy Officer. Neither had worked for our library system before, and both actually relocated to Cincinnati to work with us. Kyla Harden was promoted to our HR Director. Holbrook Sample promoted to our Chief Technology and Logistics Officer, overseeing a new division. And Kathy Bach was promoted to Regional Manager. Both Kyla and Kathy were internal candidates, and both have seized many opportunities for growth and service afforded by their new positions. As always, my personal thanks to our trustees, who I do want to note were among their many responsibilities and obligations enthusiastically represented our board at the vast majority of the community engagement sessions this past summer. And of course, to our amazing support of community staff and volunteers for making 2019 an outstanding year. We're really excited to be on the cusp of our next generation library facilities that will match the excellence of the staff who are working inside them to help our customers every day.
I have one question. I
Yes.
just was back to this drop-in with the
Yes.
Did you find that the drop-in was a lot easier to manage, and was it easier with the kids?
Yes, and I think easier for parents who can't always plan their summer days as registration in advance. What we had seen is it was really popular for people to register, and people who weren't able to plan weeks or months ahead weren't able to participate.
But people who couldn't register could just come.
Yeah.
I just wonder if it made it easier for everybody.
I think it did. It was a little more fluid, and we saw a lot of new faces, I think.
That's good.
State of the Library on February 6th, about 40 community leaders and stakeholders attended an early morning presentation outlining the library's 2020 plans and priorities. Board President Monica Conan highlighted our 2019 accomplishments, while Mark Lawson, who is the President and CEO of the Community Action Agency, spoke about that long-standing partnership between the library and the CAA, which is, of course, where our Bond Hill branch is located. I discussed our FMP, rebranding, and other impressive services like our Memory Cafe, returning citizen support, development of 21st century job skills, and services to entrepreneurs. Next is a section on the facilities master plan implementation. So we talked a lot about doing the planning, and now it's time to actually do the implementation. So we will continue our strategic approach by taking a system-level view of the internal design of our FMP projects. This approach is essential for effectively communicating with our multiple consultants and vendor teams, and ultimately will save time and subsequently money, allowing us to hit the ground running on our planning as we work on many facility projects during the next 10 years. We intend to develop general strategies for each library type outlined in the FMP, Next Generation Neighborhood and Focus Libraries, that will direct decisions related to space, square footage needs and use, and service strategies. The programs developed should direct design decisions early in the planning process, including feasibility of site and general building strategies like the number of floors, the general scope. Group 4 will continue to assist in these efforts throughout 2020, including the development of approach to service at Main Library that will be helpful when working on the renovation of some portion of this large and complicated building. Data analyst update. We have a new data analyst, Regina Kyla, say it for me. Cranbuhl. Started in her new role in mid-December. So far, she has worked with a variety of data owners throughout the library to learn what data is available. I know some of you look at that data every month, which I really appreciate. So we're going to have, Regina will do a full statistical audit and work to establish a data warehouse that will house a lot of our stats that we collect. And then she will be developing an enhanced version of the monthly statistical report for the board that will include a little bit more visual display of that data. But I do appreciate several of you have talked to me about looking at the stats, so I know that you all look at it and watch for the enhancements soon. Just to note that I did attend the American Library Association Midwinter in January. It was in Philadelphia. I did have the opportunity to tour the Free Library of Philadelphia's main library, their Parkway Central location, which is actually a 1927 building, which predates our building here. I also attended a meeting of directors and CEOs of urban libraries across the country to discuss topics to be covered at a forum this fall. I think it's going to maybe be held in Columbus, Ohio, about practices in public library security, which is a really important topic. I, along with Brett and Holbrook, had an in-person meeting with a representative from Group 4 who lives in Philly and is working closely with Fishbeck, our architect of record, on our Walnut Hills branch design project. Just to note that Ohio Library Council's annual legislative day will be held on April 21st in Columbus. If anybody's interested in attending, let me know. And finally, board bylaws. We are requesting that the board bylaws, Exhibit 1 of your board documents, be revised to align with the library's new administrative structure by changing the board committees as follows. So these are all board committees that we already have, that you're all in place for 2020, and this is officially changing the board laws to reflect that.
And we need to have a vote to approve those changes.
I move that we approve the changes.
Second.
Mr. Hendon?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Redden?
Aye.
Ms. Clemens?
Aye.
Mrs. Lamacchia?
Aye.
Ms. Koenig?
Aye. All right, thank you, Paula. All right, Facilities, Finance, and Audit Committee, Mr. Hendon?
The Facilities, Finance, and Audit Committee met on January 9th, 2020. Committee members Nadine Allen, Diane Cunningham Redden, along with Board President Monica Dothan Cunningham were in attendance. Committee Chair Rob Hendon was present via telephone. Staff members Paula Bramheger and Molly DeFossi were also in attendance. Planning for overall projects. The committee reviewed the following considerations for site selection for future library projects. Following site selections for these criteria apply to sites for purchase, lease, or those that may be donated, and will ensure that libraries' facilities are located in places that are convenient and accessible to customers. Allow efficient operation to have a strong presence in their communities. Fit with the master plan strategies. Number of libraries. No net new library locations should be proposed. Relocation should be paired with ending library service at original location. Consider locations that might draw people from areas where other more significant improvements are beyond the 10-year scope. Planning zone and proposed type of library. Does site support FMP recommendations for focused neighborhood or next generation library type? Proposed site should support the planning zone strategy to increase capacity where called for and or develop next generation service opportunities. Individual library strategies should be reviewed and updated to reflect the planning zone projects as they are implemented. Site capacity. Prioritize sites that, after consideration to topography, zoning, easements, or other possible constraints, can accommodate the recommended square footage of building size and necessary parking spaces. For ease of customer use and operational efficiency, seek sites that can accommodate the proposed public spaces on a single floor level. Look for sites that provide potential space for future expansion or partnership. Location. Determine sites that are compatible with the community's vision for development and a revitalization and provide for opportunity of synergies with this development. Look for locations where libraries may serve as a neighborhood community local focal point. The site should also be near other community services, schools, shopping, civic districts. Look for locations that might foster appropriate mixed use, joint use, or corporate cooperative ventures. Investigate sites that are centrally located to the residents of the service area or proposed service area, so that the maximum number of customers will have easy and convenient access to the library. Prioritize sites that provide ease and safe pedestrian, bicycle, and transit and vehicular access to the site, as well as sites that are easily accessible to difficulty-abled community. Look for sites and other aesthetic value of the proposed building, library, inspiring setting, views, etc. Partnerships. Consider sites that offer an opportunity for partnerships with relocation, recreation departments, private businesses, and other appropriate parties. Ensure that such sites and potential partnering agencies have compatible goals, missions, and requirements as the library. Cost and availability. Recognize the importance of affordability of sites and availability within a reasonable amount of time, as within the frame of 5 to 10 year build out of the plan. Weighing any costs associated with the site's existing conditions and the cost analysis of site affordability, such as sites with poor soils, needed mitigation, special construction, or other daily costs. In addition, the library plans to work with Group 14 to facilitate a smooth transition for the implementation phase of the facility master plan by entering into a consulting relationship with them for services ranging from program strategy, site analysis, and budgeting for our first group of projects. They will be assisting us to program strategically core elements of various identified typologies of locations, thus reducing redundant planning for each project. This strategy has been utilized by other large urban libraries for the implementation of multiple projects in consecutive years. The committee also named Robert G. Henn as board liaison, who will attend periodic meetings relative to milestone decision points for major capital projects. The committee recommends the following action. Madisonville branch operations. Approve further development of a lease agreement for the library to be a part of the development plan on the block between Madison and Prentice on Wetzel. The library would occupy a portion of the first floor rental space in a multi-use project. Based on several months of exploring opportunities, library staff has concluded there are no viable opportunities to provide parking for the current branch on a parcel to build a new branch. The option to renovate the current building without expansion or parking would most likely include a ramp to access the entrance and an elevator to access the lower level. The cost estimate for this project is between $4.6 and $5.9 million. The branch would be limited to the current footprint with 2 levels of service. Based on the 2 options, the lease of a new facility across the street from the current branch is the best option. The library will maintain ownership of the current property during the construction, and relocation of the branch is expected in summer 2020. No further plans have been identified at this time. Okay, Deer Park branch lease. Approve further development of lease agreement for the library to relocate within the same shopping center, a larger space of approximately 25,000 square feet. An expanded Deer Park branch would serve as an opportunity to develop big next-gen library, model early in the facility master plan implementation process. The lease is expected to be executed at the April board meeting. Approve the following advertisement for requests for qualifications for design services for lease build-out projects 2020 through 2024, and the beginning of the Deer Park project included an option to add further lease build-out projects for this agreement. And the notice of qualifications, request for qualifications, lease build-out projects, I'm not going to read, but it was posted on February 14th, right? She gave me a post-it note. It wouldn't fit on the thing. All right, so I'm not going to read those requests. Don't have to read it, do I?
No, but you do need to talk about that we're doing another one. I mean,
Main library, yeah, okay.
Just the
All right,
first.
main library project statement of qualifications. Facility master plan includes several projects related to the main library. We plan to begin the Vine Street renovation project first to determine the scope of the work that is necessary, which could then inform other aspects of the project. In conjunction with the skylight project and other interior work, we would like to have the structure evaluated. The 2020 building and repair budget includes $8 million for the start of the main library project, with an overall budget of $19.3 million. All right, then we need to approve the following advertisement request for qualifications for the main library project, which I will not read. All right, North Central Branch HVAC replacement. Approve the following bid advertisement for North Central Branch HVA project. And you can read the advertisement for bids there. All right, Price Hill Branch Accessibility Project. On January 15, 2020, bids for the Price Hill Branch Accessibility Project were received. Finally. 3 of the 9 came in right on the estimate, 3 came in between 10% to 17% of the estimate, and 3 came in between 16 and 42% over estimate. In total, the bids came in 8% over the published estimate. The lowest responsible bidder for each trade contracts are as follows. I'm not going to read those, you have them in your reports. With the construction budget, the bids came in at $5,228,611. The contingency is 7%, which is $366,003. Yeah, so our construction budget of $5,594,614. Request approval of the Price Hill Branch Accessibility Construction budget, including the contingency of 7%. As outlined above. The overall project budget, exclusive of furniture, fixtures, and equipment and improvements to the first front lawn, is $7.3 million as approved by the December 2019 Board of Trustees meeting. We're also requesting the authorization of the director to approve change orders that do not increase the overall budget and to execute the certificate of substantial completion. All change orders will be reported at the board for confirmation. Following items were not discussed at the committee meeting on January 9th, but are submitted to the board for considerations. You want to do that?
Sure. We have a change to the 2019 Annual Appropriations. At the December board meeting, the board authorized revisions to the appropriations as needed from now until the end of the year. To the general fund for any needed changes, we had one revision to increase or decrease salaries by $215,000 and increase benefits by $215,000. There was not, it was a net zero change. We are also requesting authorization to update the revised ABLE Permanent Trust Fund effective December 31st. The principal that was reported at the December board meeting was $88,496.80. Additional donations of $12,750.20 to bring the revised principal to $101,247. Sorry. The 2020 appropriations established in December 2019 included $22,500,000 to be transferred from the general fund to the building and repair fund. Authorization is requested to transfer those funds during the year as cash flow permits as determined by the fiscal officer.
Okay, Energy Retrofit 3 update. New air handlers have been installed in A-Stack and are in operation. C-Stack air handlers are being installed now, and we plan to have them in operation by mid-February with the first floor to follow. All new piping from the new boilers to the 80s building is complete and in operation. The fire suppression system has been installed on all public floors and started in A-Stack. A new fire pump has been installed and is in operation. We'll be switching to the new electric service in mid-February. The project is expected to be completed by the end of June. And we need to confirm the request for the following change orders for fire suppression preferred for $5,659. HVAC upgrades, Skylar, $25,515.46. The distribution center update. Although the distribution center has been operational for several months, we're just now wrapping up contractual component for the project. The certificate of substantial completion was signed by the library on January 20th, 2020. Confirmation is requested for final deduct change order. Hey, great. General trades, you get $1,700 back. Mariemont School Board request. The Mariemont School Board has requested another easement to relocate a water meter pit, which would also include a temporary easement for its construction. We're requesting approval for the easement, Exhibit 1, and licensing agreement, Exhibit 2, which have been approved by the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office. Walnut Hills Accessibility Project Update. Library staff has carefully reviewed several options and considered the addition of 1 or 2 floors, location of parking lot, placement of the entrance. After reviewing several options and obtaining the input from design professionals from Fishbeck, Group 4, and Chaplin Architecture, we recommend an addition to 1 level up to 10,000 square feet and, hold on a minute, and all the parking on the lot across the street. This will provide 1 primary level of activity service in a building in line with the facility master plan and the next-gen library concept. The current cost estimate for this project is between 11 and 12.3 million. 2019 year-end summary. The table below represents the final 2019 available funds balances reported by the county in January 2020. The variances in December 2019 report are the results of overall favorable and actual activity as compared with the estimates. You want to say more about that?
Unless anybody has any questions, it's pretty comparable to where we ended the year. We just had a slight change in the general fund carry forward, which was to the good.
All right, project planning owner's rep. As part of planning for the implementation of FMP, we have reviewed our internal resources compared to the upcoming projects and determined the need to supplement our resources. We've had an introductory meetings with a few local firms that provide these services. Fees for these services have been included in the FMP budgeting prepared by Group 4. We intend to hire a firm with support related in the main library project because of the scope and variety of projects that it will cover. 2020 capital maintenance update. There are 8 locations that have been prioritized for carpet and painting during the first half of the FMP 2024. These include Anderson, Corryville, College Hill, Elmwood Place, Green Township, Groesbeck, Madeira, and Sharonville. These branches were chosen based on a variety of factors, which included the age, condition of the current carpet, the intentional decision to spread the work among these all service zones, and the level of other improvements they will receive related to the overall facility master plan. We plan to begin 3 of these projects, Elmwood Place, College Hill, and Madeira soon, and in the interest of maximizing FMP funds, these projects will be done and managed by our facility department staff. All these projects will be determined by the approach to feasible moving forward. The goal is to begin planning and order materials immediately so that these will be completed in advance of the summer learning. Now I'm going to read the deed of easement. We need a
gavel, Monica.
I need a motion.
We need a motion for approval.
I move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right. Next up is the Human Resources Committee. Judge Allen.
Internal communications policy. In an effort to provide framework and guidance around our many new options for internal communication, Human Resources and Strategy have collaboratively developed an internal communications policy. The policy has been reviewed by the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office and will provide common ground expectations on how we can be successful when engaging within these new tools. It is recommended that the board approve the internal communications policy, see Exhibit 1, that is below. It states, as a way of achieving our mission, vision, values, and goals, the Public Library of Cincinnati and Hamilton County provides internal communication tools and platforms to facilitate staff communications. The library supports a culture of openness with staff and the public that values the free exchange of ideas, data, and information, and that provides for the dissemination of timely and useful information in a professional and ethical manner. The library is committed to providing effective tools for staff communication and to keeping its staff and the public informed. Employees are expected to use these internal communication tools for appropriate communication regarding library business and activities, and to abide by all applicable PLCH policies when using these internal communication tools. The guidelines that accompany this policy establish a broad framework to help staff be successful with their communications.
Thank you, Judge Allen. I think we need a roll call vote.
We need a,
Roll call.
well, first, who
Is that
did
your
you?
policy?
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Hendon?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Redden?
Aye.
Ms. Clemens?
Aye.
Mrs. Lamacchia?
Aye.
Ms. Conan?
Aye. Thank you. Operations Committee, up next. Ms. Redden,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Branch closures for capital maintenance, Elmwood Place, College Hill, and Madeira. As detailed in the Facilities and Finance and Audit Committee report, planning is beginning for the first 3 capital maintenance projects to take place at Elmwood Place, College Hill, and Madeira. For instance, at Elmwood Place, which is the first location scheduled, planned work includes paint, new carpet, new furniture, and improvements to the layout to provide better service, a more welcoming space for our customers, and a more usable, efficient working environment for library staff. In order for the library's facility staff to undertake these projects, the library asked the board to approve the following closures. Elmwood Place, February 23rd through March 8th, reopening on March 9th. College Hill, March 29th to April 12th, reopening April 13th. Madeira, April 19th to May 17th, reopening May 18th. You vote at the end? Collections update. The first phase of the collections project at the main library is on track, and all participants are communicating well and remain enthusiastic. This phase is focused exclusively on the adult fiction collection in the Popular Library and is currently 2/3 complete. Popular Library staff are coordinating their work with library's consultant, Angela Farmer, and the Friends of the Library are full partners in this process. As Friends Executive Director Alexa Lojnovic
Yeah, you got it.
reported to the Friends at their quarterly meeting on January 31, they are pleased with the library's cooperation, communication, and decisions about the materials.
I have a real quick question. With the Elmwood Place Library closing on those dates, I'm assuming that something's been communicated to the public. Just, I know a lot of our kids in our district go to the library after school and the parents depend on that. So was something just given to the, I guess I'm assuming, signs on the door? Was there flyers handed out?
They got the signage today. There's an email going out to all the Elmwood customers at like 6 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, we
Okay.
wait till you guys approve it before.
Okay, I'll just also make sure, just because some of the parents aren't, I'll just make sure that I touch base with the Elmwood principal and she can get that out to the parents as well.
And if there's something we can provide you to help facilitate that communication, absolutely let us know. Chris
Okay.
can send you something that you can
Yeah,
send
and I
along.
can send to her and then she can
Yes.
get it out to the parents, because a lot of the kids go to the library after school.
And can you do emails to the cardholders though?
Yes,
Yes, that's
that's,
scheduled for this evening.
Okay. I'll touch
One of the
base.
things we haven't worked out yet is if we can still provide snacks after school, so we're looking into that. We're not
Okay.
sure, because there's a lot of federal guidelines around that process, so we're trying to see what we can accomplish.
Okay, if you just need to touch base with me, that's fine. I can
Okay.
communicate it with the principal at
That'd
Elmwood
be
Place
great.
as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Perfect.
We need a motion to,
All right, could we
So
please
moved.
have a motion? Okay.
Second.
We need a roll call.
we can do
vote.
all in favor.
Okay, do
All
it
in
by
favor?
acclamation.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next up is the Strategy Committee. Ms. Lamacchia?
Okay, we met on January 9th, and today we have our featured manager is Justin Rempa, who's a customer experience manager. Before he came to this library, he worked at the Lane Libraries in Butler County for 19 years, starting as a shelver and working his way up. And he began working here at the Information and Reference Department, team lead, in April of 2016. And after doing that, he was appointed to the newly created position of Customer Experience Manager at Maine. And while he was doing that, he was assumed the role of the interim regional manager for almost a year. And now he has moved into the strategy division of the customer experience, and is added the duties of community engagement And most recently, he has served on the project management team for the Facilities Master Plan project, managing and, most importantly, the community engagement around the FMP and helping to craft the corresponding report. It's all yours.
Hello, members of the board. Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for having me here. Before I begin, I did also want to echo Paula's thanks. I really appreciate how involved you've been in this process, from the guiding principles to seeing you at many of the community listening sessions. It's been a new world for a lot of us, and I appreciate your support and leadership during the past year. So the entire FMP has been released for almost a little over a month, and it has been exciting to engage with customers now that we actually have that report out. As I mentioned, this has been pretty new territory for us, so I wanted to share some insights I've gained in this past month. Every conversation I've had is an opportunity. Paula did a good job detailing all the hard work we did last year, and for me, it was kind of a wake-up call that you can work hard for a year, and just because people's lives are busy and there's information overload, people may not be aware of any of that. So in the conversations, it's been awesome to kind of talk people through all the work we did last year and get them to the point of understanding with where we are with this awesome plan. It also is very reassuring to talk to them that the plan is a roadmap, not a stone tablet. Communicating the flexibility and adaptability of the plan, particularly when we are looking at a 10-plus year horizon, is a really good way into that conversation, and I think it highlights all the engagement we're doing, that people are part of the conversation. You know, these are not, a decision made in stone, and this is how we're doing it, but rather we're including everyone in the conversation to figure out how to make improvements across the system that are going to work for everybody. The other exciting insight is that people are reading the report. I have been very involved with the development of the report, and as the page numbers grew, so did my anxiety about people actually reading it, right? And we developed a lot of, accessibility points, whether people wanted to read the executive summary, whether people wanted to read the summary of their branch, the planning zones. But talking to people, they're quoting certain pages, they're talking about sections, they're asking me questions. And so it's really heartening, particularly after spending so much time working on that, as we all did, that people are actually engaging with this 170-page document. And then on that note of awesomeness, I did see this last year, but particularly talking to people over the past month, we are so fortunate to have so many people that are so passionate about their library, that are so engaged, have so many ideas. And it is so wonderful that these people care, and to have conversations with people that are taking time out of their day, their busy lives, to really be part of this plan has been super heartening for me. And I think it's also worth noting that it's going to be impossible to please everybody, and that's not really our goal of giving everybody everything they want, because that's impossible. But our goal is to do the best we can with the money we have and the feedback we received, coupled with the reality of our facilities and viable opportunities across the county. And even though our customers may not love every detail in the plan, they are understanding the reasons why, which is awesome, and that understanding is going to help us get so far with these improvements. So looking ahead on the topic of understanding, we're now crafting the next phase of engagement. I'm working with Chief Strategy Officer Beth Yoke to develop a presentation that will serve as the foundation for community engagement in this next phase. We're probably going to stick to a similar format as the listening sessions, with a kind of flexibly structured presentation with some interaction time for reactions and then questions from the community to really help give some tangible meaning to the planning zone concept, which was received very well. I'll be facilitating sessions attached to each planning zone, but then also working locally with branch managers to get more targeted messaging out, and also building in some capacity to respond to specific communities that may have questions. So the other highlight is that with the Facility Master Plan report out, we also can explain the concepts of the 3 threads of improvements in a little more tangible way. So those are capital maintenance, design projects, and the strategic investments, which are important because 26 of our locations will be receiving that thread of improvement. So in conclusion, last year was an awesome year, incredibly rewarding, and has resulted in a comprehensive facility master plan. It has helped to really ground the conversations we're having this year to how we can make improvements across the system in earnest. So I really appreciate all your help, and I look forward to working with you in the coming years as we make this a reality. I will gladly answer any questions any of you may have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. And I also have some next generation swag, hot off the presses, to give each of you. So.
Swag.
Need more swag.
Nice stuff.
Thank you. I know.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Was this from the makerspace?
Is that what this is? No.
We got this made
Not quite
special.
that
You
well.
had it made special.
This is probably a bulk investment.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.
All right.
All right. The marketing department is working with LPK to revisit the brand identity. We were presented with 3 possible design options, and we're getting feedback from the library to lead to a final design. And the goal is to launch the new brand in time with all the other major projects that we have going on. It's, as we've said, it's going to be a very busy year to implement the master plan, and we launch our rebranding as well. And in an effort to ensure that everybody here is well informed and receiving all their information, there's a list of all our communications that we get. Probably the most important is the weekly Rufus update, because that's probably the most detailed and it keeps us current. The quarterly links and the annual report and the email marketing messages and the foundation communications and Friends of the Library communications.
Okay, I was trying to figure out, what is the Orange Boy? I mean, someone explain the Orange.
Certainly.
On the Orange Boy profile.
So all the work that Chris does, for example, when Ms. Clemens asked about contacting community members about different things going on, Chris and his team in marketing really work on a customer management software platform that has lots of information, most notably customers' use, which they identify as their home location or the last location they check something out at. Also, their sort of types in terms of their marketing bent, and Chris uses that to communicate messages out, not only for things that are happening like you go to Elmwood, you need to know about this, but also I use a lot of digital books, ebooks, so I constantly get messages from Orange Boy software that is telling me about, oh, these new e-materials, this new initiative. So you can talk to Chris if you would like to opt in to some self-identified ways to receive those kinds of communications that are pertinent to your usage, but we also do a lot of communication using that tool, and Orange Boy is the company that provides it, so that's probably a little bit of inside baseball from us using that phrase, but it's really customer management software.
Email marketing.
Yeah, email marketing. Chris, you think that sums it up pretty well?
Yes, we don't send a lot of messages to all of our customers anymore, so you probably won't get everything.
Yes, we find that targeted messaging is a little bit better, otherwise they just stop clicking through things they receive from the library if we send everything to everyone.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you for allowing us to read the weekly Rufus update.
Oh, good. Yeah, so now you can see it. Mr. Hendon had pointed out some of the things were not working correctly, so Beth worked and made that work. So I appreciate you letting us know that too. Absolutely.
Okay, since the library has never undertaken this kind of facility review and renovation and everything that we're doing, the strategy committee has decided to help all of us make sure we know what we're doing and what's going on, and they're thinking about a half-day board retreat and also a tour of other urban libraries like Dayton And so Paula's got her little list of who can go when and where. We have a vacant position in the marketing department, and it's being repurposed to address the increasing need for a staff position to oversee the library's participation in community events, and such as our Stern Lecture and our groundbreaking and our design projects. And then we have our list of upcoming programs, the Checkout Challenge, which will run through February 29th, and that's to increase awareness and use of library resources. And it'll finish on February 27th, and the event space in the Kroger on the Rhine. Is that the one just across the street? There's an event space in there?
Yeah, yes.
The food hall.
Yeah, it's kind of a casual come in, but it has a lot of offerings.
Well, you've got 5,000 customers signing up to participate. Is that because they're going to get a tote bag?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. When we went to the Friends meeting, Alexia said the question the Friends received was, what is the design of the tote bag? So that is a hot topic, absolutely.
From February 15th from 12 to 4 p.m. we have an African American read-in, and presented by the Cincinnati Museum Center at the Cheviot branch on February 24th is a black citizens who make a difference in the 19th century Cincinnati stories. We have a writer-in-residence office hours. They're going to have office hours from 4 to 5 at Groesbeck on February 21st. She also holds monthly hours on the third Friday and rotates to different branches. Read Across America library is going to partner with the Cincinnati Museum Center, and that's going to take place Saturday, February 29th from 10 to 4 at the Museum Center. And then, of course, we have our annual St. Patrick's Day celebration on Sunday, March 15th, with our McGing Irish dancers and all sorts of Irish songs. And mine's just for information only, so there's no vote.
Thank you. Next item is the consent agenda item. Sorry.
Technology.
Oh my gosh.
Right here.
Sorry, Karen. How did I do that? My apologies. Technology Committee, Ms. Clemens.
Office 365 Teams rollout. January 2020 marked the commencement of the rollout of Microsoft's Office 365 Collaborative Communications Platform, Teams. Senior leadership, managers, and leads have been trained to use the chat channel, phone, meeting, and document collaboration functions of Teams. All agency staff will receive on-site training using Teams by the end of February. Our pilot phase saw the use of 24 teams to trial the functionality. After launch, there are already over 150 active teams. The success of Teams relies on adoption at all levels, but especially by senior leadership. Therefore, for the first time, the board reports that you are currently reading have been submitted via Teams. Biblio Commons implementation update. February is the 4th month of Biblio Commons implementation. A variety of staff are working tirelessly with Biblio Commons to make sure our catalog is correct, our website is well built, and our events calendar is up to date. The primary training for public-facing staff will begin at the end of March and continue into April. We are aiming for a full public launch of Biblio Commons in May.
Thank you. Now we'll have the consent agenda. Oh my gosh. I'm just skipping right along. Okay, Ms. Lamakia.
Want to do this? Okay.
We'll do this. Okay.
The library
Then we'll have the consent
The
agenda.
library's foundation fall appeal generated 7% more in individual donations than in 2018. And they're planning for the spring appeal now. And of course, we had some significant donors like the Charles Dater Foundation, the Stern Family Charitable Foundation, the L&L Nipper Foundation, and they were all to help the library's homework helper program. And there are other grant funding requests that are still under review. And the Friends had their winter sale February 6th to 9th at the used book sale at the warehouse. Did we get a result? We haven't heard from them yet.
Or did she just,
I don't have a financial result, but they had
over 2,600 people come through the door. It's
that's
about
great.
1,000 people more than they had in October of last year. So
Wow.
they are pleased, very pleased.
I bet he didn't empty the warehouse, though.
I don't know yet.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, now we'll do the consent agenda. We need a motion.
So moved
Thank
to
you.
accept.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
I just had a question. We had a lot of departures and a lot of hires. Is that usual at this time of year? I mean, usually it happens when the kids go back to school, but
Right. There's a lot of movement, I think, in general. In
I was
the
surprised at
labor
how many
market
there
right
were
now,
at the
so-
beginning in January. I
Right,
just wondered
right.
if that was.
And heavy part-time move.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, but,
And we don't always have people that last pay of the year. There's always like at the end of the year, we always kind of freeze it a little bit because of the holidays and everything.
Yeah.
So it could have been catching up from that a little bit too.
Okay, well, usually you have it in September.
Well, yeah, and we still do,
Right.
yes,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
The kids go back to school, all the shelters.
Exactly.
Okay, I just was just curious.
I think the labor market is a little bit more fluid right now
It is.
generally
Yeah.
though, so I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of continue that as long as the labor market continues to be heated up a bit.
Okay.
Good question, thank you.
Anything else?
Any feedback on a possible new trustee?
We are actively working and we're checking the commissioner report agenda every week, so we were just discussing that and we continue to ask them.
I see.
We've offered to answer any
Okay.
questions, yes, from anyone who might be
Yeah.
under consideration.
Do they have a third commissioner?
They do now, they have,
I thought they appointed somebody.
Victoria, yes, has been the,
Yeah.
appointed as the
I thought
intern.
they had one, so
Yeah.
what's holding up the
I,
bus here?
I attended
Not a priority.
Commissioner Portun's visitation, and it was very well attended, so I think it's possible they're still trying to sort through all of he retired and passed away so promptly that it seems like it was, Victoria's great, she was his chief of staff, I believe.
Yeah.
She's wonderful, but I think it was probably a little disruptive, just because he was so long served, so we'll keep bugging him though, we'll keep bugging him.
Should have had a couple names.
Anything else? All right, we need a motion to adjourn? No, we
We're just
don't.
adjourned.
We're
You
just
can
gonna
hit the
do it.
adjourn.
Yes, all right.